Bryson. Obviously closer to game day. What's this been like, and you glad to be out of camp and kind of getting ready for an opponent?
Oh yeah, so this is game week, and last week was week 0, and we're just itching to get an opponent. But more importantly, like we're a team that just want to improve on a day-to-day basis, and I feel like during camp, we had a lot of areas we had to improve on and to get better at, and we did. So being able to have this week to be a true test of how we do things around here is going to be awesome. So I'm definitely excited about camp being over, but just seeing the growth that each of our team has made, teammates have made this year, man, and seeing how they handle this week so far, it's been a cool thing to see. So we're going to see what comes up on Saturday.
What's the difficulty of prepping for a Texas State offense where it wasn't the same one they run last year? You kind of have to maybe work off footage from a team that doesn't involve players on this roster.
Yeah, so we know the coordinator came from UIW, and a lot of their players had transferred from there. So just watching the film from there, because pretty much what they're going to be running from there is going to be what they're running here at Texas State. So it's a little difficult because you're used to what they ran last year, and you can't see that film, you can't watch it, but just like they got a whole new players on their program, and they got guys that transferred in. So it's been easier than what people would think, but there's a lot of smoke and mirrors as far as like screens and just different things that we prepare for here, because our offense does a lot of motions and stuff, but we're used to seeing what they've already put on film so far.
Does the wide splits, is that something you have to get used to, where the wide receivers are that far out?
Yes, absolutely. So that's something our offense, like, we haven't really gotten a lot of work at. But as far as them, it's, our DBs are going to be on the island, and we're going to have, guys having to know exactly what their assignment is, and being able to communicate out there against their tempo pace. So it's going to be a unique test for us, but definitely it's going to be able to put the best coverage guys out there and see what they can do.
When you have a youthful secondary, they're trying to adjust to the speed of the college game while also trying to think through all that communication. What's the best thing that they can do out there to accomplish that?
The best thing they can do, for me, I'm a firm believer of, what you do in the beginning of the week is going to prepare you for the end of the week. And just, those guys getting in, watching film, after practice, putting in work as far as just getting their hands and their eyes and their hands in the right place. But when they're out there, just kind of communicate. So if you don't know something, look to a guy next to you and communicate what you think you might have, and that guy might know what you have. So he might help you out there or tell you, hey, scoot up a little bit or scoot back a little bit. But definitely just communicate so it can cover up a lot of the mental errors you might have in the game. So.
Is there a confidence in the secondary that maybe you didn't have in the spring, just the way that those guys that are developed and come along?
Oh, there's a confidence, I can tell you right now. We have definitely attacked everything that's been thrown at us. Camp was hard, and we were put in a lot of uncomfortable places. And our DBs, our young guys, a lot of them stepped up and handled it. And it's very surprising to see those guys come out today on a practice like this and play physical, play stout, play with the same technique and coverage that they learned in camp. And that's cool. So even though there's a lot of things going on right now, they're still able to come out here and perform and do things the right way. But we're definitely taking a lot of steps forward since the spring. And a lot of those guys their skill level went from here to up here at the top. So it's very cool to see.
When you were being recruited and going up against an in-state school, did those coaches use that stat like, hey, we beat these guys, or the in-state, in-Texas rivalries? Did that come up at all?
For me, not really. It was a lot different back in my day when I first came in. But a lot of schools, they might talk about those. We beat them here and there. But all I know is I'm a football player. So wherever I go, I want to be around the best coaches. I want to be put in the best situations. I want to be coached hard, and I want to be able to be around a group of guys that care about you. And that's the big thing here at Baylor, is that we got all these coaches that really care about their players. We got players that care about each other, and we got staff members that care about each other. So, the ceilings is up here. So we can do whatever we want as far as getting better and preparing for the games.
Yes, so if there's any different for you, game one, when you're back in a position that you haven't really had regular season game reps in a couple of years?
Yeah, there's definitely just a little bit of anxiety and nervousness there. But just as far as just like trusting my brothers and realizing that they're gonna have my back on that field is something that we developed back in spring and in the fall. So, and now in the fall. So there's the normal nervous and anxiety, but I got my faith in God, and as much as I go out there, I'm gonna be able to go out there and do what I can do and trust myself and trust my ability and technique, trust Coach Palic, and just communicate with my teammates.
You mentioned the communication. I remember last year a lot of the younger guys were really struggling when you guys went on the road as far as communicating and stuff like that. So how do you plan to use being at home right off the bat here at McLane to help with that?
It's great to have our first game here at McLane because we can get used to the crowd and get used to the noise. But just there's going to be some nervousness and jitters and anxiety when those guys step out there. But as soon as they get comfortable, like me being out there, being a guy that has experience with dealing with that, man, just I can help them out on the sideline as far as just like calming them down and getting their focus to where it needs to be. But I definitely say that we've been preparing for that. So I think the team camaraderie, as far as like our leaders being leaders, and a lot of guys connecting with each other, is going to help out with those anxieties and jitters that might show up on Saturday.
Yesterday, Coach Aranda said that Clark Barrington got up in front of the team and kind of poured his heart out during one of the team meetings. I know he has different sides of the ball, but what has he meant as a leader to this team so far, and what was his message?
Yeah, Clark Barrington is everything, and he is one of the greatest leaders around here. And he's just opened himself up, and he's opened his heart up to his teammates. And you really see guys put other players and his teammates in front by, he's the guy that's texting in the morning, hey, be here, make sure you're checking in. Or if a guy needs help, he's the first one there to go help. And he's just the guy always doing the things that might seem, like, you might not want to do it at that time. You might got other things you want to do. But Clark is always putting his team in front. So Clark's message was that, and he just kind of felt the pressures and everything. He just wants to know if he's doing a good job, and he needed that confirmation. And I think that his brothers gave him that confirmation, and it had almost a little tears up there, but definitely like Clark is everything, and he's a leader that a lot of guys want to be, because putting your teammates in front over yourself, I mean that takes a lot, and he's definitely developed my trust and his team's trust. Yeah.
Josh, excited about game week and this many days away from that first game?
Oh yeah, it's just super exciting. You know what I'm saying? It's really hard to put into words. Like kind of like this feeling. Like I've been feeling kind of in my heart. It's like, ooh, game week, football's back. Like it's like there's no great feeling, honestly.
You were out a little bit with an injury. How good was that to get back on the field and kind of get back in with the offense and all that?
Oh, it's been awesome. Really just shout out to Tim and the training staff for just really just helping with the rehab and just kind of keep my mental right while I battled through that. But yeah, real just shout out to them because they just really just hit me hard like with my injury, and I got back like real quick. So it's awesome, yeah.
Josh, for you, obviously people have been raving, I think you amongst them, about Blake's leadership so far this camp. Why do you think that it can go from practice to maybe a more high-stress situation in a game?
I think it really just goes to kind of like the summer workouts, spring workouts, kind of like those pressure situations that we felt really. The coaches, strength coaches, they kind of put us in these situations, kind of to see like what would happen with the team camaraderie when something didn't go your way. And Blake was kind of like at the forefront at those high pressure situations, basically trying to keep everyone together. And I think obviously with that training, it's kind of easy to carry over when you get to the real thing because he's just like so prepared, honestly.
For you guys, in terms of Texas State, whenever you are a first game against a new head coach, how does that affect maybe the way that you guys would look at film or prepare for a team that hasn't maybe played that defense at that university?
I guess it changes things a little bit. You're kind of watching kind of his past team, like UIW, kind of watching that kind of style of defense and just kind of like trying to picture the new players in your head. So I say probably that's like the biggest change. But as far as like watching film, like that doesn't really change. We're still watching basically Texas State. We know who the opponent is. We know who the corners are, safeties are, all that identification stuff. That's still there. So. But in terms of like literal film, that's probably just the biggest difference, honestly.
Just coming off of last season, and obviously we've talked about it a lot now, and now we're actually getting close to game week. Do you feel like you guys have something to prove right out of the gate this weekend?
Honestly, I don't feel we have anything to prove. Honestly, if as long as we just keep the focus as not really so much as we're playing Texas State. With Coach Randy, he's basically just been telling us us versus us, like. Focus on being the best version of us, and then the rest will take care of itself. So as far as expectations, things like that, we're just going to go out there and play, honestly.
I've got at least one high school teammate on Texas State, and obviously a couple Baylor players have transferred there as well. Does that add any juice to a game like this where the player is a little bit deeper than just someone on film?
Honestly, I don't really look at it too much. I just kind of view the team as Texas State. I think it's obviously pretty fun to play against them, but as far as extra juice, I just say, hey, it's another game week, so that's all the juice I need, honestly.
And when you play these in-state teams, in Texas, when you were being recruited or whatever, did coaches use that as motivation? Like, hey, we got one over on these guys. Come join us. We can beat these guys. Was that ever a factor?
Honestly, not really. It really wasn't. Yeah.
Josh, a lot of questions on the receivers last year, and maybe not the best of seasons. How much more confidence does this group have as a whole going into this season than maybe last season?
We feel very confident, honestly, and that honestly starts with the coaches as well. We've noticed throughout camp, throughout the spring, that they've kind of like put it on like us receivers because we're the older guys now, and so when you feel that confidence from your coaches, it's like, hey, I know I can play for my coach. I know he has faith in us, and when he has faith in us, I can just go out there and be free and just do what I'm capable of doing. So,
where do you see your role, or do you have a specific role on this team?
really, just whatever I can do to benefit the team, honestly.
In terms of the depth chart, I think a lot of people, at least from the outside, were kind of surprised to see Monterey with Jonah at the top of that receiver depth chart. What for Jonah has been that area where he's gone from a guy who really didn't play last year to being kind of that number one receiver along with Monterey?
I think Jonah has just taken a huge step forward, honestly. I think it really starts with his mental. He's just really grown mentally. He's fine-tuned his routes, his body, things like that, but really just his mental with him. Like, he's just taken such a huge step, and like being his roommate all these years, just seeing that, him battling through different injuries, and him finally like getting a chance to show like who he is. Like it's just been awesome to see.
Did y'all both come in as walk-ons?
Mm-hmm. Yes, sir, we
You
did.
roomed with him the whole time?
Yeah, from freshman year all the way till now. So yeah.
And that extra bond, both being walk-ons, now starters.
Oh yeah, no, it's awesome. Like I look to like the left or right, he's there. Like we always like talked about it. Like, hey, we want to be on the field together. So like it's a super great feeling.
Will there still be nerves going into Saturday's game? I mean, just because it is the first game and all that? Or?
I think really with any game, there's always going to be nerves, but once you get out there, the nerves all go away, and you're just playing football. At the end of the day, it's the sport we all love to play. So yeah, you're just really just playing football.
Has Landry given you any inside info as to what his brother's going to do?
He hasn't really said too much. Yeah, he hasn't really said too much.
Thanks, Josh.
Thanks.
Awesome. Thank y'all.